Buckeye fans, what is going on? It is officially a game week here for Ohio State. Yes, it's going to fall on a weird little schedule here as the Buckeyes are going to be playing on Wednesday of next week on New Year's Day out in Pasadena. But our content schedule is going to be laid out exactly the same. So today we're going to get things started with a fun little look at what the Oregon Ducks did against the Penn State Nittany Lions in the Big 10 championship game, and then talk about how Ohio State can use all that to put together a game plan that's going to be pretty successful on Wednesday night. Thanks for jumping in with me tonight. Excited for this episode on the Buckeye Breakdown Podcast.
We've got the whole crew together as we cover Ohio State with our instant analysis from Ohio State.
There's something that doesn't feel right.
Unbelievable effort from him today. Is E.J. Liddell going to crack the first team All Big 10?
I think he can be the guy. I'm not trying to start a quarterback controversy.
He seems to have the durability. He certainly has the toughness. This is the question on a lot of people's minds here. Welcome to Buckeye Breakdown.
And welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Buckeye Breakdown Podcast. Anthony Moeglin here with you tonight, and thank you for jumping in with me on this film room episode. Typically, our film room episodes are Ohio State related, where we look at what the Buckeyes did in their past game and what they need to correct or look forward to. But tonight, I got a fun one dialed up, one that I was a little excited about. Had some free time here around the holidays, so I was able to spend some time diving into the Oregon Ducks a little bit because this rematch, in my opinion, we'll certainly get to it later in the week, but this feels like the national championship. It feels like both of these teams stand head and shoulders above the rest of the field when it comes to this college football playoff. And the winner of this one's going to be in the driver's seat as the college football playoff continues. But tonight we're going to take a look at what the Oregon Ducks did against Penn State a few weeks back in the Big 10 championship game, how they attacked the Nittany Lions, what were some of the things that they did that I can see Ohio State implementing into their game plan. And then on the flip side of things, what were some of the things that that Oregon did on the defensive side that I think Ohio State can take advantage of, how they can use formations and motions and to create favorable matchups when the Ohio State Buckeyes have the football. So this is an episode I'm super excited about, one that I hope you're excited about as well. As you're all jumping in, certainly appreciate you hanging out with me tonight. Maybe you're watching some of the bowl games, as today's like awesome college football. You got Diego Pavia and Haynes King going at it right now. So hopefully you put that on the big screen, me on the little screen, and we can talk some Buckeyes. But jump into that comment section. Let me know what you're thinking, what you want to see as this week progresses, and then also what you think the score is going to be. We got our guy Doug, my guy Doug. He's with us pretty much every night. He's got Buckeyes by a bunch. Maybe so. And Vegas is certainly thinking that may be the case, or at least the market's telling them that, as Ohio State is favorited currently in the matchup. I think the last I saw was -2.5, I do believe. But it'll certainly be a game that is going to have not only the eyes of all of college football on it, but certainly one that Ohio State wants, and they want it really, really bad. They have an opportunity to avenge a 32-31 loss from back in October, and at that time, it felt like Ohio State was on the cusp of being really, really good. They had a great game against the Ducks out in Oregon, and they just came up a little bit short. And obviously, we remember how that one finished out, right? With Will Howard's taking a slide, and maybe we make the kick, maybe we don't, but it was so close. He makes that decision to slide, and Oregon gets that huge win. And then we were expecting to see Ohio State really hit this like crescendo, but they never really did. They kind of had a point in the season where you get that Nebraska game, you get that Purdue game, you get some of those games in the middle where you don't really look the part, right? We've been waiting for Ohio State to like really take off and look the part. Then they fall to Michigan, and everyone's like, shoot, sky is falling. Tennessee is going to come into Columbus and stomp out the Buckeyes. And instead, total 180, right? Ohio State comes out, plays damn near a perfect football game. Will Howard's the best he's ever been in an Ohio State uniform, and they put together an awesome game. And now have the entire country on notice. You got Nick Saban talking a little trash to the Ohio State fans. Now you got all the national pundits saying, hey, why can't this Buckeye team go get it done? And that's kind of where I'm at with it. If you get that version of Will Howard going forward, I think that this Ohio State team certainly is in the driver's seat to win the national title, but they're going to be tested, and they're going to be tested come Wednesday afternoon when they travel out to Pasadena to the Rose Bowl to take on these Ducks, because Oregon is the best team in the country, right? They beat Ohio State. They've taken care of business in the Big Ten. They had that one weird game against Wisconsin that we'll get into later in the week, where they almost lost to Wisconsin. Probably should have lost to Wisconsin. Had a couple balls break their way. Ended up getting a win there in the Big Ten. But regardless, they've taken care of business at every step. They win the Big Ten, and they've shown the ability to win those knockdown, drag-out games, like those games in a phone booth, if you will, that was that Wisconsin game. They've also shown that they can win the track meet. They beat us a few weeks back, obviously in October. That Penn State game turned into a little bit of a track meet where Drew Aller got hot and Oregon had to continue to answer, and they proved that they have the resolve to do so. So this Oregon team's got to be feeling really, really good about where they're at, and obviously for Ohio State, they got to be feeling really good about where they're at. And these two teams are coming back to face each other in a game where it's everything's on the line. And like I said, I do think that this one is. The winner of this one is a national champion, and that's where at least my mind is. And as the college football playoff wears on, that's where a lot of the conversation is going to be for me. So looks like we got a lot of viewers in here. So really appreciate you jumping in, Nate. Thanks for popping in with me. -7.5 is a lock. He says that is certainly a move there from Nate. So. If you want to ride with Nate there, jump on in with him and take the Bucks -7.5. If that happens, you'll be a rich person. So, all right, tonight you didn't get into listen to me talk and jibber jabber with my own self. You came in to watch a little bit of the tape and how I structured this one a little bit different than how we typically do our film review shows here. But we're gonna look at Oregon's defense to start. I got a couple of clips here of Oregon's defense and some things that I think that Ohio State can take advantage of. And then the second half of the show is going to be looking at Oregon's offense, what they found success in, and what they did to Penn State to kind of pick them apart. And the reason I think that this is an important show and one that I'm excited about is because last week in the press conference room, JT Tuimoloau was talking. He goes, "Yeah, we've gotten better, but they have gotten better too, right? These are not the same two teams. It's the same two logos that played in October. These are not the same two teams that played in October." And that's what gets me excited about it. And this is what the Buckeye coaches did, right? They went back, they watched what Oregon's been since they played Ohio State, what they've gotten better at, what they've gotten worse at, and where we can look to attack them here. So as we watch this first half of the show, think, okay, not the Penn State offense, but the Ohio State offense. What that you see that Ohio State's offense can look to attack, especially given the context of our offense, right? A beat-up offensive line. You're going to have to get creative in the run game. All the same themes that we talked about against Tennessee are going to be live again this week when the Bucks go to Oregon. So the coaching staff's going to have to be really creative. Will's going to have to be on his A game, and the offensive line is going to have to play a really tough brand of football. And one of the themes that we saw against Tennessee was Ohio State leaning into that zone style run, right? They've been more that gap scheme over the past couple of weeks as they've been trying to make up for their injured offensive line. However, they got back to their bread and butter last Saturday and did a lot of that zone scheme stuff. And you're going to see it here. This is really good, where I think that Ohio State can look to take advantage of this Oregon team is their ability to run the football. I think that Ohio State, if they can do that outside the tackles, they're going to find that they're going to have some success. And Penn State certainly had a lot of success. We look at the stats from that Penn State game. KJ Allen for the Nittany Lions finished 14 carries for 124 yards and 1 score. And why I think that's really important is because those are chunk plays, right? 14 carries for 124. I'm no math major. Got to pull my calculator up here, but that's a great average. That's 8 yards a carry. He had some of those massive home run hitting type of runs, but that's certainly on the table. And for Ohio State, it's important. You can't abandon the run game, and they're not going to, but you're going to have to continue to be creative in it. And I can see in my mind here, this is a Travion Henderson play. This is less Quinshon Judkins, but this is more Travion, where you can stretch the defense out on the offensive line. And then once you get that cut lane, right, he sees the hole, right? If we had the back view, you could probably drive a little car through this lane, this gap right here, because he puts his foot in the ground and hits the hole and hits it with great speed. You see that speed. He's pulling away from secondary guys. He's pulling away from corners and safeties. This has the ability to be a staple of Ohio State's attack next week. You get into those zone plays where, hey, as an offense, you're just blocking the zone next to you. You're reaching out, you're double teaming, trying to get to guys on the second level, and then it's up to the running back to put his foot in the ground and go when he finds that hole. So I think outside zone is going to be a place where Ohio State looks to establish that run game, right? Because inside the tackles, it's going to be really, really challenging. Okay, this one's a fun clip here. So I'm going to run this up and show you why I like this so much. So this is an RPO. This is really good discipline here by the Penn State offensive line, and I'll get to it here in a second. But a really nice play. Obviously, we don't have Tyler Warren on our team. However, we can use this type of formation, this type of scheme to dictate completions, to dictate chunk plays. So I think you'll see this early. If I'm coaching, if I'm in the film room on Sunday afternoon or whatever day it is, I don't even know. But when I'm game planning this, I'm seeing a weird bunch formation, one that's kind of unique. And I'm saying, okay, when we bunch, Oregon goes man-to-man. All right, so they did that against Penn State. I don't think that they're going to do that against Ohio State. However, what I do think is that you'll see this early from the Buckeyes. In the first 10, 15 plays, you're going to see a couple bunch formations so that Ohio State's coaches can get an idea of, all right, they're going to either man us up when we go bunch, or they're going to zone it out, and we'll figure it out. And why I think that's important is because Penn State has an RPO on here. And so they're in this bunch formation. They know they're getting man-to-man coverage. So when you go RPO, that's a double read for the quarterback. First and foremost, you read this end man on the line of scrimmage. They're not going to block him. This is going to be a combo. These two are going to combo block this defensive end up to this linebacker for the run play. You leave this guy open, he'll crash on the run, and then there's really nothing to read outside of that, right? The defender who would have that area of the field is right here playing man-to-man coverage, all right? So you're not even reading anything. Basically what this becomes is if this defensive end crashes down, you're going to have this slant right behind his head. So that's a lot of drawing to say, hey, read this defensive end, and if he crashes, hit this slant behind his head. All right, so you see it, Aller's eyes go right there, bang, I lied. They've actually blocked this defensive end, so maybe the read's inside, but it's definitely a run play up. Aller pulls it and rips one right behind his head. I said it earlier, it's good discipline by this offensive line. Don't get too far downfield, right? They have the ability to go 3 yards down the field on a run play or on that RPO. They're only two yards deep, all clear there. And they rip that slant right behind his head in a huge chunk play. So I get excited about this because this is something that Ohio State can do with ease. Literally come out, throw a couple of bunch formations out in your first 10 or 15 plays, see how Oregon's going to respond to it, and then you're able to dictate what you do off it. If you put this RPO style in, or if you don't, you're getting a zone look, then you can go zone beaters off of it, and you can really figure out, hey, this is how Oregon's going to defend the bunch formation. Now here's how we can attack it. So love this. I hope to see this early in the game where Ohio State can show some bunch formations and figure it out. All right, this one really gets me jacked up here. One of the things that Oregon does is when you spread them out, they tell you exactly how they're going to cover it. Okay, so Penn State goes 2x2, but a wide 2x2. Look, here's our X receiver and our Z receiver. Those guys have their feet damn near on the sidelines. All right. So they are wide. And as a response, the safeties for Oregon get wide as well. So here's your one safety. Here's your boundary safety. We got zone posture down here where this corner's got eyes in the backfield. This corner's got eyes in the backfield. I know for a fact I'm getting some kind of middle field open coverage. What does that mean? Middle of the field open coverage. All right. Nobody's got the middle of the field, whether it's cover 2 or 4, it doesn't really matter. The defender responsible for that is right here where my cursor's at. little Tampa 2 action. Now, there's a number of ways you can attack this. You can send pipe routes. You can get after this in a number of different ways. I think this is super advantageous, especially because it's hard to disguise with their width and with the communication going from one sideline to the other. It's really hard to show something and then get out of it. So they're showing you a middle of the field open coverage. It's going to be really tough for them to audible out of it or to post snap adjust to it. So how does Penn State attack it? Well, they run a pipe route down the center of the field, and this is just awesome here. You'll see it. Obviously, the running back's lit up here. I wish I could tell you that I did that, but I got a nice clip of it. But he just goes straight up the middle, and that's actually a bad drawing of it. We'll go right. It's more of this route right here, where he goes right up the middle of the field, and it's impossible for this linebacker to cover. And you can see him coming out of the field. He just works inside, and all that's needed is your 2 slot guys. The keys here are your 2 guys in the slot, right? You're going to get a corner out of this guy who's going to occupy the safety, and then Tyler Warren just kind of runs directly into this cat just to occupy him. And now it's one-on-one up the seam, and it is like nothing, right? There ain't nothing there. And Ohio State has the guys, has the wherewithal, has the ability to do this exactly the same way. I mean, it could be Quinshon, it could be Trey, it could be anybody, right? You could be so worried about Carnell, and you could be so worried about Emeka and Jeremiah that you just rip one right up the center of the field. And this is huge play. You could run this at the -20, you could run this at the -10 yard line and have a massive play up the center of the field. So look for something like this. Look early on to see Ohio State come out in one of those wide formations so that they can take inventory of, hey, they're going to give us middle of the field open coverage. We have the pipe route, or we have everything up the middle that we want, and we can get back to it. We can get back to it a little bit later. So some good things that Ohio State can implement into their scheme. One thing that is really, really important is this Oregon offense is so potent that you have to take advantage of every opportunity you get. So you cannot have anything like this happen. So you drop back here. Drew Aller played really, really well in this game. I've said it a number of times. I'll continue to say it. I'm a huge Drew Aller fan, Cleveland kid like myself. But this can't happen, right? A miss behind that sets up Oregon with a 1st and goal from the inch yard line. He doesn't score there. But for Will Howard, he's now had 3 massive football games. Go back to Oregon. He answered the call, played amazing, threw for over 330 yards, was awesome. And ultimately came up a little bit short, but not his fault, in my opinion. Game number 2, Michigan, total failure, right? Was awful in the game, threw 2 picks, did not answer the call. Looked like he kind of overdid it, right? I talked about it a bunch. Looked like Ryan Day and that team all were just overhyped and didn't get it done. And then he comes back in the 3rd game against Tennessee, throws for over 300 yards, is perfect. I've said it. It was my favorite game he's played. Is the best game he's played as an Ohio State Buckeye. And if he can do that, they're going to win this game. But if he reverts back to that Michigan type, they're going to be in trouble. And it's going to be really important that you do not turn the football over, because every possession you have has to end in points, right? Or a kick, right? I was always taught as a quarterback, every possession needs to end in a kick, whether that's a field goal attempt, whether that's a extra point or a punt. Every possession on Wednesday has to end with your kicker kicking the football and giving it back to Oregon. You cannot have this, and I know that they're preaching that to Will Howard. No turnovers. Okay. Awesome scheme here, and this is one that I think Ohio State is going to have in the playbook here. So I'll let it run, and then we'll talk about what I love about this play. So how Oregon defends this. All right, watch the end man on the line of scrimmage. Number 1 here, their defensive end. They let him go. Okay, we get a double team, we get a block down, and then up to the linebacker here by these 2, and then you get a pulling guard. All right, and what I love about this is they then use their H-back, fullback, whatever you want, as another blocker as well to kind of seal off the edge. So how Oregon defends this is, number 1, takes on the puller right away, bang, does his job, stuffs that hole. However, they are not able to get – Tyler Warren does a nice job of the scraping linebacker supposed to scrape over the top. Warren does a nice job, and then the safety is in no man's land. He gets stuck inside here because of the route that the running back takes, kind of stuffs it up inside. And they use their great scheme and their great execution to create a nice chunk play. It's undisciplined defense by the Ducks on this one. They are out of position. They got 2 guys. They got 3 guys in one gap, really, right here. I paused through it right here. All three of these guys, 26 and our safety, these three guys are all in one gap. All right. And what that means is it's undisciplined football and it's great scheme on the offensive side to get their eyes all messed up. And it creates a nice big chunk run. So look for some of that misdirection stuff, making those duck defenders be disciplined. Ohio State loves doing that trap game. They love doing some of that pool stuff. It wasn't a major part of the offense last week, but it can get back to that if they gain some trust in their offensive line. All right, I think the use of play action is going to be massive on on Wednesday, because it influences, like I said, this duck defense doesn't inspire me, okay, in terms of, hey, they're out of position a lot. They get out of position with their eyes, and this is a great example, right? Ohio State's very used to seeing this, right? In 71, kind of motions down. It cost Penn State the game against us, but they do this weird motion thing, and then they just have some quick backfield action, right? I think this is the fake out here, and then they send their receiver just basically up the seam. But you're going to see here that this safety gets influenced by the run, right? By just the run action, and then Tyler Warren getting out and into a route. So what I like about this, they fake run. It's not even a good fake, right? It's kind of a token pitch thing. And the safety just caught flat-footed. And right here, it's already over. The saying in the quarterback room is, if he's even, he's leaving. All right. And the receiver's already even with their with the safety. And he's ripping it into the end zone, right? This is an easy play up the seam there. And why I love it so much is because you don't need to do too much. Look at the protection that's created. Okay. Look at that right there. He's got plenty of time, thanks to the play action, thanks to some good offensive linemen, obviously, but no pressure at all. Easy pitch, easy catch. And all of that is a fake little token into the boundary, got this defender's eyes in the wrong spot. Easy touchdown, and something I want to see from Ohio State. And that's something that's in their playbook. They have that pitch in there. They have that fake stuff that they can get to out of the play action, out of shotgun play action, that I think can prove dividends. All right, here we go. What did I talk about just a little bit ago? Wide formations put this defense in conflict. Okay, this is really sneaky. I don't think Ohio State will do something like this, but I put it in here because it's going to be a wide formation. So I want to see Ohio State do this a lot. Maybe not a lot, but maybe in critical situations, to see what they can get up the center of the field, because this is a little unbalanced. All right. So this is actually 3-by-2. All right. We have two guys on the line of scrimmage. So this is actually your left tackle. All right. Here's Tyler Warren. Here's 1. Here's 2. Here's 3. Here's receiver 2 in the slot up top, and here's receiver there. So this X guy, the guy in the X, cannot go downfield. If he goes downfield, it's an illegal play. Now, I don't know if Oregon adjusts to this. I don't know if Oregon communicates this, but they're acting like they got 3/3, and they have 2/3 over here. Okay, they have 2/3. They don't recognize that Tyler Warren is an eligible receiver. And here is your shell. There's that middle of the field open. Defense of the field. And yes, sorry, I have it here. MOFO stands for middle of the field open. Okay, MOFO is middle of the field open there. So Oregon doesn't communicate this well, or they don't talk it out, or whatever the case is. But Penn State spreads them all out. They get the coverage that they want, and then they just send Tyler Warren right up the seam here. It's a missed opportunity. Aller just goes eyes to the left, right, and then flips his hips. This should be a touchdown, right? This is a bad throw by Aller. Sometimes I think his feet and his weird throwing motion get him all out of whack. But again, this is spreading the defense out and then using that middle of the field with your athletes up the center. And I think they do a really nice job here of doing that. So do I think Ohio State's going to use their tackles and spread them out and go unbalanced like that? I do not. However, I do think Ohio State's going to go 5 wide or 2-by-2 or 3-by-1 and literally use all 53 1/3 yards and make Oregon communicate from one sideline to the next, and also make them just show the defense that they're going to be in, and have Will Howard have the ability to just pick them apart. All right, last one here. It's a quarterback run. All right, use the quarterback run. Will Howard is not isn't your burner type, right? He isn't Lamar Jackson, who we watched on Christmas Day, but he is good enough to be a threat in the run game. I think this is awesome. This is an awesome play, and one that I think Ohio State can do. This again is another read. I personally, if it were me, I'm giving this. I think that this defender is actually in good position. I'm not fast, though. I'm very, very slow. Always was, always will be. So I'm not Prabula. Obviously, he's not a part of the Penn State offense or team anymore, but he pulls it, keeps it, goes around the left edge, and gets a nice little touchdown run here. But this is in a critical spot of the game, right? Look at the score bug below. Fourth quarter, 38-24, got to have it situation for Penn State. What do? They go QB run. They overload to the right. They bring Warren back on the left, and this is called an arc block, right? Where logic's going to tell you he's going to take out this end, but instead they're reading that end. He'll arc around him and then get the next other defender, the next odd colored jersey. He gets that block on the corner, easy money, and Prabula gets in. So I don't think Will Howard has a 20-yard run in him, but I do think that they can use the quarterback run to get after it. So for Ohio State's offense, right, what are a couple things we like to do? I want to see them use formation to dictate coverage, all right? Whether they spread it all out and dictate that middle of the field open stuff, great. Use that. Use bunches. Use stacks. Make Oregon tell you this is how we're going to do this. This is how we're going to cover this all game. What are you going to do about it? If they go man, have your man beaters up and ready. Have those crossers. Have those RPOs. Have those ready to go. If they go zone, have those switch routes. Have those routes out of the bunch that make a defense have to go outside, inside, outside, or whatever the case is. Use formation to dictate it all. Use the quarterback run play, okay? Use quarterback run when you need it, and then when you are handing it off, use scheme. Use those wham blocks, those arc blocks, but also use that outside zone. You could just go straight outside zone to Travion and let him pick a lane and hit it. So I think you do those things on the offense to get it going. I think that Ohio State can formulate a nice game plan around that. Okay, we're going to flip it over to the defensive side. I'm going to pop back over here. We've got a lot in the comment section, lot in here. Appreciate you all jumping in. Doug, you're predicting 49-19. Maybe so. I really like that one. That'd be awesome. Mr. Bucknuts, what's up, man? Hope you had a great Christmas. 45-24. I don't hate that. That would certainly be a fun trip out west for all the Buckeye fans. Troy, yes, sir. I appreciate. I'm not going to pull that up, but appreciate the comment there. But as always, appreciate everybody jumping in here. And let's flip over to the defensive side of the ball. So what I think Oregon did really, really well, obviously last time they played us, they had a really good balance on their attack. Jordan James rushed for 115 yards, and then they were able to not really spread it around, but they were able to get a couple guys involved in the pass game. It was Evan Stewart and Tez Johnson who were the ones that really led the way. Stewart obviously had the breakout game, 7 catches for 149 and a score. Tez Johnson went 7 for 75 and a score. And they got Ferguson involved from the tight end position, and then a couple other guys with just 1 or 2 catches that I don't think were that impactful. However, if you remember, we go back to Trayshawn Holden, right? First drive of the game, got a little too much into the whole pomp and circumstance of the entire game and actually spit in Davidson Igbignosen's face. Like, I don't know. I've heard a lot of trash talk in my day. I've gotten a lot of it. I've heard a lot of mean things before, but I've never had somebody spit in my face. I think that was BS, if you will. But yeah, that all happened. So you're going to have him be back in the mix, of course, but obviously you're going to have to worry about Stewart, have to worry about Johnson. But another element that I think you're going to have to worry about is the tight end group. And why I say that is because I think Oregon, while it wasn't crazy against Penn State, I think that they used their tight ends in a really good way. One that I think they're going to try to do against Ohio State here. So against Penn State, Tez Johnson again led the charge. Right, it was the Tez Johnson show, and this one really was the Tez Johnson show. 11 catches for 181 and a score. However, Kenyon Sadiq, okay, is a name that didn't really do much against Ohio State, but he's a tight end. He wears number 18. He had 2 catches and 2 scores, okay, so pretty good once they got down low, and I'll show you one right here. Once they got in that red area, they went to the tight ends because it didn't end there. Terrence Ferguson, 3 catches and 1 score, okay, so Ferguson was a name that had a couple catches against us in Eugene a few months back. But Sadiq being into the mix now is another element that we're going to have to look to defend against. So as we watch this back half, all right, now envision Ohio State's defense, right? That we're going to watch Dillon Gabriel and this Oregon offense try to operate and see where I think Ohio State should be cautious of doing some things, but also where I think that they can attack. So here we go. This first play, right? You're on the high red area. I like to classify the red zone from the 25 and in. All right. So 25 to 20 is that high red. 20 to like the 12 is just the intermediate zone, that medium red. And then 12 down is the low red. So they're in that high red zone area or on the fringe of it. And they do a really nice job here using formation again to kind of dictate some things. And this route, actually, if you remember back to our film review of our last game against Tennessee, Ohio State ran something similar to this, right? With instead of the wheel route coming from here, it actually came from Travion. He was in the backfield. They did that little motion out and then up the sidelines. Instead, here, there's a similar style concept where you're going to get a post out here and then that wheel route down below, and it's an easy read for the quarterback. If the flat defender moves, or if there does get anybody into the flat, whoever it is, you have that wheel route up the side. However, if the safety drives low, you have the post over top of him, and then you get to the backside. Well, I wish I had the all-22. He could have thrown 2 different touchdowns on this, right? Really important for our safeties to have really, really good eye discipline. Look, this is horrible. This is horrible eyes. It looks like you got a quarters look where it's like, if this safety's telling me anything, he's deep. This corner's deep. This corner up top's deep, and the safety kind of gets caught flat-footed. You see the run by. By the number 1 wide receiver, and Dillon could have thrown a touchdown there. However, he throws it down to the bottom, and there's nobody home, right? There's nobody around. Good, accurate ball. That's one thing that is Dillon Gabriel's game. Super, super accurate. You'll see here why I think Sadiq's a major addition to this this Oregon attack is because of this. Bang, catches it, makes two steps, and then hurdles a defender, gets into the end zone. So be very, very cautious of their tight ends. They use the receivers up and down the field, and they certainly use them down in the red area, but they get to the tight end position in the red zone. And it's not to say that Ohio State struggled covering those. It's just another element of this Oregon offense they're going to have to defend. Okay. Big chunk play here by the Ducks, right? And then it's just, again, similar play to what Penn State did and why it was successful for the Nittany Lions. It was successful for the Ducks because you get an undisciplined angle here by our safety up top. So here's number 1. He had a tough first quarter. Here he is right here. He's kind of walked down. And this could be, think Caleb Downs, think Lathan. These are the guys that can kind of walk down. So when he comes down in the box, look, we got 2 Penn State Nittany Lion defenders in one area, and then you got 41 going on a loop here. So you got 3 guys defending one gap. And what they do is they abandon this interior gap right here. Bang, right in here. Again, wish I had the back view because boom, foot in the ground, 1 juke cut, and now you're rolling. Now you're in space. And why I put this in is because I know Ohio, look at this. Big play. I know Ohio State's watching this because this is so critical. It's so critical that everyone is gap discipline. You hear it all of the time. Be gap discipline, be gap discipline, be gap discipline. Because when you're not gap disciplined and you just go try to make a play like this, you get out of your gap. And the result is instead of this being stalemated, right? Penn State should have a guy here. If my thing could work in here, right? If they have 4 guys there, it's a stalemate at that line of scrimmage and nothing gets through. Instead, there's a massive gap that opens up and they hit it in a big way. Dillon Gabriel, smart, stay out of it. I've been there before too. Don't try to block or be a hero, but really important for Ohio State to be super gap disciplined and really good with where they're supposed to be when they're supposed to be there. Because here's another good example of it. Oregon uses a similar play action look to create a ton of space. And now if I'm a quarterback, I am salivating at this look right here, right? I don't think Ohio State's going to do this, right? You're going to have a safety up here, and this safety actually is eyeing up backside. And really the defender who kind of gets put in a bad spot here is this linebacker, okay? Because they go play action. Obviously, you're getting this drop out here by, I think that's Abdul Carter. He's dropping out into the flat. He overextends. The play action pulls this linebacker this way, and now there's this huge gap. You see that massive gap right here. Bang, play action, pulls the linebacker. You see the linebacker move. Carter's out of the way. Linebacker's flowing this way. Bang, watch this. There ain't nobody. I mean, like, this is huge. I mean, this is 10, 15, 20. I mean, there's nothing around this cat right here. He catches it in the middle of the field, and that's Tez Johnson, makes a couple guys miss, then slips and falls. But I say that's really important because Ohio State has to be good with their eyes, okay? You have to know that, all right, what are your keys? If my key is the I'll get rid of these so that these stop messing up our film here. But if my key is, if I'm the linebacker, if I'm 41, if this is Cody Simon or Sonny Styles, and I'm keying on this guard, I know immediately, bang, right here, he sets up. That's a pass set. I need to get to my drop. Screw the run, right? Screw that run play. This is a pass. And if I'm dropping in that right spot, I'll make that window a little bit tougher. And then it's going to be important for our safeties to play downhill and not let anything big hit beside him. All right, down in the low red area, okay? It's 3rd and goal. Money down. Got to have it. 14-10, still a ball game, second quarter. Got to have this possession. I love this approach by the Oregon offense. Obviously, I see the game through an offensive lens. This is Ferguson here. He's the guy who had a couple catches against us, but they split him out wide, and then they actually motioned him down. So why I love that motion to a bunch, okay? When you motion, teams have to communicate. All right, here comes the motion. I don't know if he's going across, whatever. You have to talk to the linebackers to get the message all the way across to the other corner. But then the motion guy stops, and he stops now in a bunch. Now, the defense has a whole new set of rules for how they defend a bunch, whether it is a banjo coverage where you get one guy taking the first one in and the other guy taking the first one out, or it's a top hat coverage where you stack on top of each other and the main point guy just takes the front man, and then the defender following has to cover off on the rest of them. But however they cover bunches, they have to communicate that. Well, for Ohio State, it's going to be really critical just to be on your P's and Q's and communicate fast, because if they're going to use these motions, right, to get into this set, you have to be on it, because this is really sneaky. All right, they motion him from the outside in and then run him on an out route here. So he basically motions outside in and then runs an out route, and he's well leveraged on number one. Number one keeps popping up. Tough day for number one. Tough start to the game, at least for number one. But just really, really good, because they don't have anything coming back this way, like none of this here. What they do is they just go out, run these two defenders off, and then an out route underneath. Really sneaky play. Awesome design. But for Ohio State, just know, hey, whatever the coverage is, this is coming, and be ready to be on it, because bang, this is way, way too easy of a completion of a touchdown. So they're going to use those motions. They're going to use formation to really scheme it up. All right, this is a really, really important clip here. One that I think Ohio State hasn't had to deal with the past few weeks, at least for the last month that I can think back, of a mobile quarterback like this. Dillon Gabriel's played the most games in college football ever, period, done. He's played, I think, in 62 or 63, which set the record in the Penn State game. So this is not Nico Iamaleava, and I nailed that. How about that? I nailed that pronunciation. Finally got it. But this isn't Iamaleava, who's a freshman, the environment's going to be too big. This cat right here has been there. He's done that. He's been behind. He's been ahead. He knows how to handle it. And why I think that's so important is because he isn't going to get flustered, especially by a pass rush. All right. So this is for JT Tuimoloau, Jack Sawyer, anybody else who's going to be rushing off the edge. You cannot over rush. All right. You're going to see it here. This defensive end runs this crazy loop, and it creates a huge seam for Dillon Gabriel, and Gabriel takes advantage of it. So you'll see it here. I'll let it run all the way out, and I'll show you what Ohio State will have to do to combat this. But you see him get out, uses that threat of the throw, and then gets down. This kid's savvy now. This kid we saw firsthand. He's a savvy football player. Truly, I'm a fan of his. Like I am a fan of how he goes about his business and plays the game. So how does Ohio State stop this? Well, they have to have good pass rush integrity. You cannot, if you go and loop around, that's a loss. That's a lost rep. You can't just put your head down, pin your ears back, and go. Okay, you have to rush with great integrity. Okay, so if he stops there and stalemates and doesn't allow the step up, that's great. And now you just bull rush through your left tackle the right tackle, whatever, to to decrease the pocket. It's also critically important inside. This is critical. Tyleik Williams, Ty Hamilton, you have to crush the pocket, okay? And by crush the pocket, don't let the quarterback step up. If you get stalemated, if the interior of that, if the center guard win the battle against the defensive line, you're going to see this all day. Look, if he didn't have room to step up because this pocket continues to get crunched, I actually think this is a pretty good job. I mean, this is 5 yards off the line of scrimmage. This is pretty solid, but continue to crunch that pocket so that Gabriel cannot step up and can't be comfortable getting outside and making a big chunk play there. So really important for pass rush integrity and pass rush discipline by the Ohio State attack. Okay. Penn State decided to go with a little bit of man coverage, and I think they do a nice job. But when you go man, you better be ready to go man, because these Oregon Ducks can beat you. It doesn't matter who it is, how many guys there are. They got a ton of dudes who can win in man-to-man coverage, and you're going to see a win down here. Okay, oftentimes you see this where offenses will try to hide their number one receivers down low. Corners will follow them around. Like, I know this is man-to-man, right? This is obviously man posture. You got one safety back here. Great. And then this guy's responsible for the quarterback. So this is just man-to-man, backyard football. Let it rip. Here we go. Okay, and Dylan Gabriel, this is actually a nice job. Abdul Carter, actually, I disagree. Abdul Carter gets washed down, right? What did I say? You have to have good pass rush integrity. Carter tries to make a play. He loses leverage, loses contain, and now Gabriel's out on the edge. And what does he do? He wins against man coverage. This is actually pretty decent coverage, right? But this is a big body receiver. This is a big body catch. And who is it? Yep, that's our guy. Excuse me. That is our guy, Trayshawn Holden, who makes the catch there. Again, a face we hadn't seen last time, but he makes a nice catch. And again, he is just bigger bodies. This is a big body receiving group and guys who can make big plays. And then here's another thing that can happen. It's very similar. Look, they go spread wide. Obviously, this is late in the game. Penn State's trying to make a comeback. 3rd and 9. This is a huge play. Holy cow. I didn't realize the situation. If Penn State gets off the field here, they got a chance to go win this football game. Instead, here we go. Man-to-man. And now I want you to watch right here. This is called a jerk route, and this is what is called teach tape, okay? Watch this. Snap of the football. Man, he just totally dusts, buddy. Holy cow, what a route here. I mean, just absolutely leaves this cat in the dust. I mean, this is good on good, best on best. And what he's going to do here is just fake an out route and then whip back inside. And it's impossible to guard, impossible to cover. So I think it's really important for Ohio State to do what they can to not go man-to-man coverage. I think that if they get into situations where they have to, that's fine. That's fine. Just be really disciplined and know that big plays can happen. When you go man, you have to get home, pressure the quarterback. But Gabriel's accurate enough that if you do man-to-man coverage, or you do try to make him, make accurate throws, he's going to. Guess what? He's really freaking good. He's a good quarterback. He's accurate, and he's going to make you pay. So just know that's in the back of your mind. And when you do go with man-to-man looks, that you must get home. So for Ohio State's defense, I think it's really important for a couple of things. First and foremost, pass rush integrity. Don't get so caught up in, hey, we need sacks. No, the big plays come when Gabriel can scramble, get outside the pocket, buy time, and then find an open receiver down the field. That's when the big plays come. So pass rush integrity is massive. Communication, when they motion, when they get into different formations, be ready to communicate it, okay? It'll really help prevent against big plays. And then when you get down into critical, got-to-have-it scenarios, you'll be able to defend against it. And then come ready to play. Like these guys, this is a good football team. This offense is really good. They got NFL dudes all over the field. And if you're called upon to go man-to-man coverage, great. If you're called upon to go zone coverage, great. Do your job, know your responsibilities, know your rules. Don't let their backfield stuff get you out of your game. And don't let them dictate the tempo of the game and everything that comes along with it. So, guys, this was awesome. This was really awesome. This was a ton of fun. Good question here, Mr. Bucknuts. Do we spy Gabriel? I think you do it in spades. not in spades. I think you do it sparingly. That's the thing, is that you can't just major in something just to do it, right? To spy him, I think that, you can do it every so often, but I think our linebackers are good enough that if you do tell Cody, hey, spy him, or you do tell Sonny, spy him, like that will be that they're going to get the job done. I'm not really worried about that. However, that takes a man out of coverage. So I think you can do it in spots, do it in situations where if you do want to tell Jack, hey, go get home on this one, we got Cody spying, awesome. I think that's a great way to do it. They just have to be kind of on the same page. And yes, agree here. Got to get them off the field on third down. Third down's the money down. You have to win third down on offense, and you have to get them off the field, certainly on defense. And there's so much good in here. Apologize if I couldn't pull every one of these, every one of your comments up, but I love the conversation going on here in the chat, and I'm so excited for this week here. All right, so just laying out our content week. I see a lot of the same names in our chat as always are. So I appreciate everybody deciding to make us a stop of your Buckeye content. There's a ton of great stuff out there from a lot of different outlets, but we really appreciate you jumping in and stopping in with us, because we love doing what we do here. So for our week, we'll be back with you tomorrow morning doing our typical preview episodes. We'll dive into Ohio State's offense versus the Oregon defense, and really get into the players. What do they do well? Who does it well? Who rushes the quarterback? Who's good in coverage? All of those things. So we'll get into that. Kevin and I will be back with you there it's not Wednesday. It'll be Sunday. I'm going to do my prediction show for the next round of the playoffs. We got a bunch of good matchups finally. You got Notre Dame and Georgia, which is looking to be a good matchup. A couple snoozers. You got Penn State and Boise State. You're going to have Texas and Arizona State, which I think is going to be sneaky good. And then obviously you're going to have our game, the granddaddy of them all, Ohio State versus Oregon. So I'll do my prediction show there. That'll come to you on Sunday. Then Monday, if you have to work, that stinks. I'm sorry. I have to work. So, but we will be back with you on a defensive preview. So Ohio State's defense versus the Oregon offense. Again, dive into the players, dive into their stats, what we're expecting. And then on Tuesday, I'm heading west. All right. So I'm flying out to Pasadena. We're going to be on site. So if everything goes as planned, I want to do a quick show on Tuesday night, just from the Rose Bowl, show you guys what I'm seeing. Dream of mine to be out there. So really appreciate all the support and everybody watching this year. You've all made it possible. So really pumped about that. So we'll hit you with that on Tuesday, and then Wednesday we're going to be filled. Twitter page is going to be filled. So hit that follow button on that Twitter page. And we're going to be bringing you content all morning long, all night, all day. We'll be back here pregame, postgame, all the things, our typical way to cover this team. We'll be with you, win, loss, or draw. So super excited about the week ahead. So if you like what we do, or you're new to the page, welcome. Hit that subscribe button. Costs you nothing, and gives us the opportunity to keep doing this and bringing you good content just like this. So hit that subscribe button, drop a comment in. Certainly I read through them all and appreciate them. So appreciate that. And then follow us along all week. Obviously I laid out our content schedule here on Ohio State Buckeyes on SI YouTube. Also go over to our website. It's right below me. It's going to be crawling right here, si.com/college/Ohio State. Our team is working super, super hard, giving you all the storylines, setting you up for that. Still also talking recruiting, talking transfer portal, all that stuff. So head over to our site. We got a ton of content over there. And then get to our social pages too. You can find them. They're really, really easy to find. Ohio State on SI on all channels. So head over there and follow us right along, because it's going to be a really, really fun week. And hopefully, if all goes well, the Buckeyes will be moving on and playing in either Arlington, Texas, in Jerry's World, or down in Miami, Florida. Regardless, we'll be with you all along the way. So again, thank you for jumping in with me tonight. And yeah, we'll be with you all week long, and I'm really, really excited about it. So Go get out of here. Go watch the rest of the games. Go enjoy some family time as vacation wraps up. And for me, we'll catch you guys later on our next episode on the Ohio State Buckeyes on SI YouTube channel.